Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about Quant Network, aka QNT. So let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things. So first and foremost, before we even jump on into this video, I just want to ask, how's everybody's day going, or night going? I hope everybody's having a great weekend. In regards to the overall market, we have been seeing some nice green on the 7-day span. QNT is the number 2 asset out of the top 100 in regards to performance, up almost 40%, up 21.5% on the 24-hour span. Now, before anybody gets really excited on QNT's move, I just want to, really quickly advise you that we are still moving on basically no volume. We had some nice volume on the candle from yesterday. RSI is nearing the point where we were at back in March when we had a nice little move as well before we had a sell-off. So I just want to, really quickly say, for anybody who is saying like, all right, well, we're breaking out, we're good, I want you guys to understand that we are still on diminished volume here. And on the weekly, you could really see the diminished volume. And you could also see that we are basically trading right around a resistance point going back as far as like the June of 2021 time frame. So definitely be advised on that. I just don't want, to say like, hey, everything's bullish just yet, because we haven't really seen, anything really special. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And in regards to like the 4-hour span, we could definitely see that volume adding up back here. But again, realistically speaking, we are still at a very, I would say like a very crucial level for us to actually really either make or break it here. So if we don't have a breaking point of, basically this point up here at like almost 84, almost $85, then I'm expecting a rejection from here going forward. So let's definitely check out what's happening. More so, once we do have a little bit more price data. But to me, I would say that this is probably going to have a retest of the lows. Maybe, roughly testing like the 64, almost $65 range, which would be this yellow line down here. Or it's like more of an orange line, if you will. And if that does not hold, then we will most likely test back down to like roughly this fib level at roughly almost $58. So just to give you guys an insight real quick on the short-term aspect, there you guys have it. I think that anything under $100 is, it's basically accumulation zone to me, especially if you are a long-term holder of QNT and you can let it sit there and basically not touch it until your targets are, basically met. Now, I came across this tweet today. Actually, it got retweeted and it came out up on my timeline. And basically, it's saying, can you afford to buy 10 Bitcoin, let alone one right now? That's what's coming to a wallet near you for QNT. Folks will wish they bought these levels and every level coming in the future. And I don't want to be like, extremely bullish and say like, it's 100% right, but it basically is right. Like when we look at QNT and we really kind of look at where we are going, I don't know why. So they like threw the holders tab and like this more info tab over here. But it is pretty, accurate when you actually look at Quant compared to like even Bitcoin. Not only, scarcity wise, but also like utility wise. Also, we have been adding more and more numbers to the active addresses in regards to like the holders, which also tells me like, there is some mass accumulation happening around QNT. But it's not even like the price range that matters to me around Bitcoin and QNT. It's just the overall utility around QNT. Like, even if the tokenomics weren't as good as they are on QNT, I would still be extremely bullish on it just from like the technology standpoint alone. And, yeah, I think that when we look at the price for one QNT at about like roughly $74 almost, it might seem like a lot compared to what you can get for like, H bar, if you will, if you add like $74. But to me personally, a lot of people will say like $74 might be a lot. But when you look at like the long-term view on QNT, it's really not. And again, like I really do call it like the modern age, Bitcoin. And we actually do see over here yet another comparison to Bitcoin from Digital Asset Investor. In our upside down crypto world, Bitcoin is 21K and Quant is $63. With less supply, I will be buying Quant as much as I can. Bitcoin, whatever. And yes, this is exactly what we have been really kind of trying to get to the point on all of these, QNT videos, is not only are we in this sort of, crypto space where utility doesn't really matter? It's more so like, scarcity, how much, people are going to shill it, speculation, stuff like that. But to me, like that's what makes QNT such a valuable and lucrative, investment vehicle. Because not only are the tokenomics absolutely insane, there's no inflation, max supply is only, 14.6 million. Circulating supply will decrease due to lockups creating deflationary pressures as well. And you compare this even with the utility around Quant, and it's something remarkable. I've always said, like, Bitcoin to me like it paved the road, right? It was a great starter asset, but now we have way better technology. We have way better assets. Bitcoin, for the longest time, has done its thing. It's been the spotlighted asset, but it's time for it to move aside, and the new king will be crowned. And I do believe that Quant is going to be that new king. I think that Quant is going to be much bigger than what anybody really kind of perceives it to be because, again, this technology is not easy to comprehend. It's not easy to understand. In fact, it's not even easy for me to describe it to people, but I try my absolute best on a day-to-day basis just to try to give you guys like an insight on like why Quant is such an incredible investment vehicle. And we also do see over here, but you would rather trust an anonymous individual on Twitter, right? Hang in there, Q&T. And here we have it, right? This is a quote from Martin Hargreaves from Quant. This is an employee there by himself. And I don't know why I said like by himself, but like, just like in general, he is a Quant employee. But we do see here, in short, we at Quant predict that by 2024, the world will, in terms of connectivity, be a very different place from the world we see today. It will be a world where DLNs are mainstream and a world which will offer huge benefits to governments, companies, and individuals alike. And yeah, I mean, like when you really kind of look at like interconnectivity and connectivity in general around crypto, like, this needs to happen. I would say like this is a necessity around crypto. Like we need, you know, in general, a connection between DLNs to the legacy system. But we also need a connection between many of the industries around the world. It's not just finance. It's not just, all right, well, how much, money can, for example, move over a distributed ledger technology from like cross-border payments. I think that that's just a very like boxed in way of looking at where crypto is actually headed. Like I get it, right? When you look at finance and you look at, money movements, like that's a great industry to focus on because again, it's money, right? Everyone loves to talk about like the big money plays, the big money use cases, and that's great. And don't get me wrong, Quant is definitely not short of those use cases at all. But what I actually look forward to is the other markets that could be disrupted by Quant. And we actually do see here from the chain media, Quant has a revolutionary impact across markets and industries. Capital markets, compliance, payments, digital currencies, insurance, supply chain, trade finance. Q&T is simply the future. And we actually do see a full-on breakdown of this. We do see capital markets, payments, digital currencies, compliance, supply chain, and trade finance, insurance. For an example, assets of all kinds, both physical and digital, are being tokenized. Issuers, are gaining access to an entire new pools of liquidity, while investors are diversifying their portfolios in ways they could only dream of just a few years ago. Payments, cross-border payments, again, $156 trillion market, whether in digital currencies or fiat currency, are more flexible and secure when handled over blockchain. Digital currencies as well, talking more so about CBDCs. And again, like this goes on, there's so much within this. I'm telling you guys, when we look at, the efficiencies around crypto, like DLTs in general, in a lot of these like areas, like for example, like cross-border payments from XRP, incredible opportunity, incredible efficiencies as well. And it truly is disrupting these major industries at a very fast pace. I know that right now, like we're kind of stifled because of like regulations, but that's going to change rapidly as we do kind of march forward on in time. And crypto basically becomes a spotlighted asset class that is either adopt it or die sort of aspect. And a few people will say like, but the market cap is too high. Not sure how, return will be or will it bring? And I think that this is actually kind of interesting, right? Because like a lot of people will say like the market cap is too high, but like you look at Quant and you compare it to Bitcoin at $73. Again, you kind of look at the upside on this. Like imagine a day. Now I know that this is going to be a little bit the people will say like, "Oh, this is never going to happen." But imagine the day where Quant is at $73,000. That would be a 1,000x opportunity from our current level. Now, I know that this is going to sound crazy to a lot of people saying, like, what? A 1,000x opportunity? No way. I want you guys to understand that they will say that all the time when you talk about a certain price target or a certain, ROI that something can do. Because again, it does sound outrageous. Like, imagine if I came up to you and said, hey, this token's going to do a 1000x opportunity. You'd be like, dude, come on, please, stop with the hopium. But I want you guys to understand that at $73,000, the market cap of Quant would actually be less than Bitcoin's at $73,000. Remember that. And also remember the fact that Quant has far more utility than Bitcoin and less supply. That's huge when you actually look at where this market is headed. And I've always said that this market is headed to the point of peak adoption, and a utility-driven market is on its way. It's going to take time, but I do suspect that that will happen by at least 2025 to 2030. I might be wrong, but that's where I basically look at, the spectrum of like getting to like 50 to 100 trillion dollars in market cap value for crypto. And when we really kind of look at like Quant, for an example, like even going off of like just like the 14 million, total supply, we'll just say 14 million to round it down. And I'm not doing this just like for my sake, but like at $73,000, this would have a $1 trillion market cap. And again, like I said, if crypto achieves a 50 to 100 trillion dollar market cap by 2030, or even by 2027, for an example, like even if it's like 10, 20 trillion, I could see QNT actually holding around like 500 billion to $1 trillion in market cap value. Remember, $1 trillion is pretty easily achievable when you actually look at how fast we added $1 trillion in 1 quarter in crypto, but also the fact that like we hit a $3 trillion all-time high for crypto in general, and Bitcoin was holding $1 trillion of that value. Think about how comical that is. Bitcoin holding $1 trillion of market valuation with no proper actual use case. And a lot of people will say it has a ton of use case value. The Lightning Network that these people are really kind of just, bowing down and, just praying to, I want you guys to understand that that Lightning Network is one of the most centralized networks out there. And it's also not solving anything because, again, Bitcoin is reliant on another payment processing network to facilitate those payments because of how, inefficient Bitcoin is as a payment transfer vehicle. And again, this is why I say focus on technology that's actually helping these assets transact, because that's exactly what Quant is. In regards to Overledger, right? And Quant as a network, like Quant is not a blockchain. Quant is diverse in its own way. It's blockchain agnostic, meaning it can transition from any chain. But in regards to the technology, I actually kind of look at Overledger almost in the same way that I look at the Lightning Network. Lightning solves, inefficiencies around Bitcoin by allowing it to actually be a payment processing asset. But again, it's not Bitcoin that's actually unlocking that power, it's the Lightning Network. And again, similar to what Quant's doing, Quant is basically becoming the bridge or the connector between the crypto, world and the real life legacy world. That's why I believe that Quant is going to be so large going forward, because of the technology behind it. Remember, I've always said like the tech stack behind a lot of these assets is something remarkable. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all. Have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.